Hello, in this video we're looking at Cyclic Warrior as a caster for Chaos difficulty through the end of the DLC story. There's going to be some tweaks that we make throughout the build, and I'm going to kind of fast forward a few things, but let's say that you just beat the game. You'll have unlocked the Cyclic Warrior job, and um, you could spend anima shards, not crystals, anima shards just to kind of speed through the job. And two of the biggest things will be the Chaosbringer, um, your spells or job action, everything costs 0 MP, and your break damage goes up by 100%, but you can't build MP limit or max MP unless you soul burst or your allies soul burst the enemy. So tricky part there. And then Solar Chaos Mastery, uh, when after for 15 seconds after you use Soul of Chaos, you can rebuild max MP. So once your Chaos Bringer ends, you have a short time to attack the enemy to rebuild your max MP back up in order to start another cycle of Chaos Bringer. Um, and then Solar Chaos, we're going to lean into the stat bonus stat, in this case Spirit, to deal more break damage, just because of how much break damage um, some of the actions do, as well as taking advantage of the break damage plus 100% from Chaosbringer. Some things we'll do for survival is on the Sage job, we're unlocking the teleport command to jump around pretty quickly. On the Assassin job, if we're playing with NPCs or party members, we're going to use Invisible just to avoid being targeted as often. And then, um, what's the word here? And then we're going to use Lunatic from the Berserker job just to speed up the casting animation. Charge time reduction does not affect the, what's the word here? Does not affect uh, the the cast on this one. Uh, and then on the armor for now, I'm just largely using the Armor of Light set that you get when you beat the game, as long as you're updated to the latest version of the game. Um, and well, maybe even have the season pass, possibly. Uh, and then uh, the main reason I'm doing that is so that I have a non-RNG way to get Knight 400%. Whoops. So my Lightbringer or my Chaosbringer, instead of taking damage, my Bringer's gauge is decreased instead. Um, and then at that point, I feel comfortable enough to use the Smithy on this armor set because one, you can't dismantle or discard it, or fuse it out of existence. Um, so it can stick with you for a while. So I'm gonna do Spirit, and because I'm trying to make this a standalone build instead of like hyper optimizing it, I'm putting Lightbringer duration so that my Chaosbringer lasts longer on the gear directly, and I'm also using Soul Burst MP recovery so that my um, when I soul burst an enemy or someone soul burst the enemy, that I get a bit more MP limit back, and that's pretty much across my gear. Um, and at some point, I'll try to get damage taken as well uh, on my axes for now, just because I figure I can use this just across this difficulty to get the limit releases, and I did in a previous video, but I'm just not going back to record that one. Um, and then Chaosbringer, it is going to be on the last slot uh, where you get to alternate from Lightbringer, Chaosbringer, and one other bringer that shows up. The reason why Sage is my second job, ideally I would probably have Ninja uh, for the Utsemi just to survive 3 extra hits. That's the job action on the 3 o'clock position. But I'm using Sage just to get some additional spirit. For example, if I switch over to like Marauder, my Cyclic Warrior has 75 spirit versus when it was on Sage, just being the Sage, and ignore the weapon for a moment, and the class that showed up, I get 13 extra spirit, and that does help out a lot. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention uh, the master points. So as I get more master points, I'm going to invest into spirit, and ideally I'd like to have Cyclic Warrior at 250% so that I can rebuild my MP limit up to 2 bars in case I mess up, or even if I don't mess up and there's just nothing to attack. And then over time I'm going to invest in increase MP limit boost rate in category 4, Soul Burst MP recovery in category 3, and Lightbringer duration in also in category 3 so that my Chaosbringer lasts longer. Um, but about the job action for Soul of Chaos, um, when I'm holding the button, the direction that I'm facing, uh, the crystals show up based on the direction I'm facing. So uh, if I'm facing away, I'd have to press up in order to get the earth crystal showing, or whatever side Jack's back is on. So if you're locking onto the enemy, usually that's just going to be pressing down in order to get the crystal, earth crystal going. And if you're not locked on, then you can kind of rotate and spin around and the controls get all screwed up. But we have Whirlwind, takes a long time to animate. It's the most damage for your MP spent, but it not the highest DPS because it's a long animation. There's Flame Sprout, damage over time. Fire, it's kind of weak. Let's just do Whirlwind while we're at it. And then there is Earthquake on the south or back position. Highest DPS of the Soul of Chaos. Short, quick. Kind of has some trouble if the enemy is leaping or flying in the air. And then there's Water, which will probably start this fight with Tsunami just barely touching the Goblin. And notice that it does consume my max MP when I use one of these combo abilities, or I'm sorry, these Soul of Chaos. But because of Soul of Chaos Mastery, I can hit the enemy and get some of my bars back. And in a real fight, I would, as long as I'm not in Chaosbringer. But I'd only have about 2 casts, and a real fight, I would probably try to go in and start fighting and getting some of my stuff back. But let's say that you want to keep casting. That's where Chaosbringer, Lunatic, and then I'm already casting more than 2 times, so that break damage is enough to take out most enemies at this point. I got slashed anyway. And so what we would do over time is get the limit releases, such as Chaos Shrine on Chaos difficulty with the 4th mission, or the 3rd mission, depending on what you have unlocked. Warriors of Calamity, and you'd go down and select the mission level and try to complete the 280 version, well, 260, 280, and it is doable even with this item level penalty. That mission level, that red triangle, that's a lot of break damage penalty, and for a build that's break damage based, that's pretty painful, but it's still doable. We're also going to get broken very often, but I can't even clip the video out because of how I encoded it, and I'm just whatever. Keep going. And then the other place would be Terra Tortura, the Suffering of Fools, the 255 version. Clearing that, and your job level by the end of those 2 missions should be level 99. And just as a rough example, although this is going to end poorly, I'm only going to do the 185 version just because my mission level is pretty bad. I'm sorry, my what's the word called? Item level. And so I'm level 30. I'm going in there. Chaosbringer, Lunatic, Teleport, Invisible. And try to take out the enemy. Try to position yourself on the backside as best as you can. So I'm going around to her back. And roughly my first Chaosbringer is about to end. But if need be, I had another Chaosbringer ready to go. Just a bit more. Granted, I did just Soul Burst her twice, so a rough idea of how this could go. And I'm really trying to avoid pressing the up or toward button on my left thumbstick while I'm jumping around, just so that I don't accidentally start using Whirlwind. Uh, After I get the first Earthquake, I'm leaving my, like when I press my job action or the Solar Chaos, I'm trying to keep my joystick in a neutral position. But I'm going to fast forward a bit to what this looks like after you get to Bahamut difficulty to some degree. Hello, so we're back on Bahamut difficulty, and I realize the timestamp's different because I moved faster in this save than the other one. But I'm still using the Armor of Light for some sets, and I don't have things fully optimized because I just kind of threw other crap together for a few of the pieces. But I still largely have Spirit, Soul Burst, MP Recovery, and Lightbringer Duration, but I was experimenting with damage taken at max HP just so that my Chaosbringer, when I do get hit, doesn't lose as much of the break gauge, or as the bringer gauge, while Knight 400% is active. But if I had to do one thing that did change is I'm using the Breaker 150%, or more specifically, Breaker 120%. So, whoops, where is that? Oh, so the 120% and the 50% in order to get more Soul Burst MP recovery. And I still have just sort of a low accessory just because it had Spirit on it. Still using the Sage, even though I'm at a point where White Mage, Tyrant, or Ninja would serve this build a little bit better. But we're going to keep going with this. Let's look at the master points because we've unlocked more stuff. Largely Spirit. Cyclic Warrior job affinity to 250% without any, what's the word? Without any RNG. I do have leftovers after I've spent the master points elsewhere. Damage taken at max HP. I do have Lightbringer duration so that my Chaosbringer and my Lightbringers now last longer. Soul Burst MP recovery and increase MP limit boost rate taking precedence. So categories 1, 4, and 3 taking precedence over category 2 for this job or this build. And what else is there? So let's say that how do I make this work? So thanks to Cyclic Warrior to 50%, my max MP is growing back very slowly. I had that in the earlier part of this video as well, but what am I thinking here? I'm sorry. Let me sabotage myself just a bit so that I can show off this next thing. Show off, sorry. So the job action, let's say I do Chaosbringer, and I have this version of Cyclic Warrior called the Primal Warrior that has Chaos Rising. As long as I was in the casting position before the spell went off, I can release and activate a Lightbringer through the spell itself. And while I'm in that Lightbringer, thanks to Knight 400%, uh, I lose Lightbringer gauge um, instead of HP. But if you get hit in the back, critical hit, you're going to lose a lot more of that gauge. So, what am I thinking here? On Bahamut difficulty, we did find one rat tail and unlocked not just Cyclic Warrior, but Primal Warrior and Apocalypse Warrior. And for this build, and even for any caster, Cyclic Warrior, Primal Warrior does pull out ahead, just because the Chaos Rising has more break damage baked into it um, for some reason. So I digress. The class change effect says automatically grants effects of Lightbringer when this ability is activated. So it's the idea that we could finish a Chaosbringer, try to time it as best we can with some type of spell at the very end, and then you're in a Lightbringer that will serve you long enough to rebuild max MP or the MP limit boost rate. I'm sorry, MP limit, and then start your next Chaosbringer. So before that, we're gonna just kind of look at the world map, and on Bahamut difficulty, we on the menus, there's now a Bahamut menu, and there's an exchange shop. And with your first set of dragon treasures, so if you're doing the accelerated guide thing, that I'll link that in the description, to kind of speed up through Bahamut difficulty without extra mode, that you'd have some dragon treasures. Even with extra mode, you'd have dragon treasures. And there'd be some limit releases towards the bottom for a Cyclic Warrior, and you'd buy both of them. And at this point, your Cyclic Warrior could be job level, the max level 135, and that will let you allocate even more master points and complete higher mission levels like Warriors of Calamity mission level 350, as well as Terra Tortura mission level 370. And by the end of both of those on Bahamut difficulty, your Cyclic Warrior should be around job level, the cap should be job level 200, sorry. So just to see what this is like in Ebon Memories the Soul Seeker, I'm going to turn on just a handful of trials that won't impact me as much, even though Poison's going to suck. So I'm looking for the trials that won't severely impact us. So yeah, we'll try this. Break Gauge Max, I'll Break Gauge Recovery, Soul Shield Break Cost, Ailment Accumulation and Duration, Potions, enemies gradually recover, and we're just gonna sneak things up just a little bit so that we're at rank 6, just for slightly better loot, slightly better treasures. Ideally, I would use Summoner 120% on my second job in order to boost myself up. Oops, let's make sure I have Invisible back on so I don't get targeted as often. I don't have any potions, so if they go down, they're dead, but we're gonna run in there, Chaosbringer, Lunatic, Invisible, Teleport. And we're poisoned, which is gonna suck, because it's gonna impact us quite a bit. Jed is already down, and he's not getting back up, is he?
Keep our heads cool.
Get up, Jed. Get up. But I'm gonna wait for Crayclaw just because it takes a while to show up. And the battles will kind of go like this, but you still need to be careful in case enemies rapidly attack you, especially from behind. How is Ash still alive? And then we're gonna kind of fast forward to a version of the build you can start to do from floor 13 onward.
Getting desperate. No, learn a couple things.
And this, we're gonna see if we can interrupt the electric body. We could not. Oh, uh-oh. And that's the knight 400% protecting us.
Give up on me, Ash.
And I cast a little bit too much, so now I'm trying to fight my way back up. Before the next, like I transitioned from Chaosbringer to Lightbringer by, well, it looks like I did it intentionally, but I absolutely did. I just kept trying to cast. I digress. We'll fast forward to the Gilgamesh version of this, or what it could be. It'll pretty much be the same thing, just more numbers. And then if you're playing in co-op in particular, actually I say we're going to fast forward. That's not entirely true. I'm going to switch over to Tyrant. Oh, really should have just made this a separate video, but we're going to keep going. So we're going to unlock Tyrant. Even though Ninja would be better for this, we're going to unlock either Lunarian or the Magitech Knight. Either one does not matter. And if you have any summoner, nice costume. If you have any summoner that you could potentially have Tyrant as your second job and lean on the summoner 120% and 50% to build your MP limit when you chain cancel, and we'll talk about that in a bit, as well as the gambler 120% to restore MP, a random amount based on your luck when you chain cancel. And the more luck you have, the higher the chance that you get more MP back. So we're gonna just dump some luck here, and we don't have very much, so just throwing this out as an idea. Oh gosh. Really should have been a separate clip where it was ready to go, but let's say that
This'll be a walk in the park.
Let's say that your Chaosbringer ends, and
Alright.
we're gonna just let it end and stare at Jack's chaos aura, his chaotic aura, and and then let's say that you're on the Tyrant or your Magitech Knight or Lunarian. You can go to a Luna, and notice how all the other spells at the top next to their name have a spell cost, but a Luna does not.
I'm ready.
So casting it does nothing, but if you're casting it and you change jobs
It is.
before the animation finishes,
I'm ready. It is.
you can rebuild some of your max MP. So at some point, if you're in co-op or if you had invisible going, that you can hold on to your allies and hope that they hold off the enemy long enough so that you can go back in the Chaosbringer and start the cycle of destruction all over again. Um, this doesn't work very well single player, uh, unless you have invisible and your allies do stay alive. And in such a case, if you want your allies to live longer, that you would throw Knight 400% on them, and then you press the D-pad left
Ash, show me what
or
you can
right,
do. You got it.
or with the keyboard you press R or T.
Time to go wild, Jed.
Oh, I'll leave you dazzled.
But we'll fast forward to the Gilgamesh-ish version, or kind of what this ends up looking like um, when we have access to Fuse and stuff. So following up on Gilgamesh difficulty, roughly from floor 4 onward, the build could look pretty much like this with some time investment. Uh, Now, even though the item level goes past 400, uh, I found things that were higher than 400 and fused them down into this gear just to avoid the astronomical fuse penalties if you do it the other way around, like high level piece of gear to start, low level gear that's getting sacrificed. But for the most part, I tried to pull together whatever I had, if I had it. Damage dealt Solar Chaos on the upper line, higher tier versions of Spirit and during Lightbringer break damage dealt, Magic break damage dealt. If I didn't have like a really strong Lightbringer duration or Soul Burst MP recovery, and so this is kind of how I ended up. Um, I thought I had improved effect invisible on one of these pieces of gear. I was wrong. Uh, I'm not even using Barrage, but that's just what the boots or shoes came with. And even customizing the accessory. And what's the word here? So Soul Burst MP recovery is a lot higher, Lightbringer duration's higher. The break damage delt's all a lot higher, along with the damage dealt. Even though it says damage dealt, every 1% damage dealt is 1% break damage dealt as well. So in the end, it'll feel like we have like 270% break damage going on or more. But we're going to go in here. Also, Jed and Ash, they are higher level now. Don't ask me why they're shirtless. I'm going to go in here. Ideally, I would do Enluna and chain cancel my way up. But we're going to go in, like, what would this be like? Chaosbringer, Lunatic, Invisible, Teleport. And try to finish the fight a little quickly. We do have a bit of advantage here because there's multiple mobs on the side that have been getting soul bursted. And if you see one, we can tsunami them away. But we're going to do Earthquake again. And this is with some trials on, but also avoiding break damage dealt, buff duration, max MP boost rate. We're just gonna leave a bunch of crap on. Oh, it's not showing up. Oh well. So this is how things could be as you start fusing higher tier effects together. And at this point, I would strongly recommend turning off the auto dismantle and just to go to items, press the menu button. For me, it's square. Go down to send all equipment to storage, and now it's in storage. And if I ever need to fuse something, I could go to the smithy, and again, this is Gilgamesh difficulty after floor 4. I can go to fuse and press square again to go to the filter, go down towards equipment status, change that to Jack, even if you're using a different skin, go down the filter, and now I can look at the stuff that Jack is wearing, and I kind of have to, I start marking my jobs different colors just so that I know which one's the main job and which one's the secondary job. But Like I tend to use blue for blue jobs, red for red jobs, that kind of thing, and then white if it's a buffer job. That's just how I've been coding it for my own sanity. But yeah, the more you can slot on here, the better off you'll be. And some things that I did try to go for, and you don't have to do this. I went for Dragoon 400% just so that I have even more speed while I'm in Chaosbringer or Lightbringer, so that I'm casting faster. I have the oops, I have the Breaker 120% now, and um, the Knight 400% still. Uh, and just in case, I have Cyclic Warrior 600% because I went past floor 13. Um, every time I finish using or activating Lightbringer, I also trigger a Soul Shield. And that Soul Shield can potentially recover some, rebuild some max MP along the way. Uh, on on the very last Chaos Rising or Soul of Chaos, the job action. And what that'll benefit from, for some reason, is the Evoker 120%. It thinks, whatever it is, it ends up giving Jack more MP to work with and MP limit. The Void Knight 120% also helping with more Soul Shield, uh, the MP limit boost rate. And then, depending on RNG, if you're going around Lufenia difficulty, the world map, you might come across without any Dragon Trials on, you might come across Leviathan Primary Blessing. That Summon Blessing at the bottom, this blue gear. You do need to identify at least one unidentified item in the Rift so that these rarity of relic even drops in the loot pool. But um, that Leviathan makes your soul shields and your soul bursts recover even more MP or max MP, so that it helps sustain you. And ideally, I'd also have Summoner 400% across my gear at some point, but I don't at the moment just because Lufenia difficulty makes that a lot easier. Right now, um, I'm trying to simulate as if I don't have access to Lufenia difficulty, but I was still willing to like grind somewhere. Uh, and so if you wanted to grind, I would recommend Gilgamesh. I'm sorry, if you're not on Lufenia difficulty, the Wanderer is a solo only mission, but I'd recommend going to Wanderer and at the very least turning off max HP trials. And you can practically turn off most of everything else if you decide to. Probably don't turn on enemy stats, but let's leave that on anyway. And um, I would switch over just temporarily. I would switch over to, say, like Paladin, and that can be level 1. Um, it could be practically naked if you wanted to. It's just the idea that... are you really gonna... Yes. Oh, Neon's using it. Son of a gun. Sophia, please. Okay, let's do this. Well, okay. Uh, and I'm gonna slot the fleet command just to make sure that I can get over there in time. And then whatever job that you're trying to get crests for, you'd slot that into the second, like let's say I'm trying to get Dragoon job crests. I'd go over to the Ancient Chaos Shrine. I'd go to, I would try to cast Flee.
You feel that?
Holy
Something's
Fang,
off.
and then try to...
Just like when
Whoops. If you
Someone
miss the
standing
opening
up.
attack, don't actually
Think it's
chase them.
Lufenia this time?
They are very dangerous.
It seems not.
But let's try again, and this time I'll try locking on. And then so you're getting job crests for both jobs, and you kind of more or less repeat that until you have enough job crests to fuse over the job affinities that you want. But be very careful about the item level difference because if you fuse something that's a really low level item, like let me start with this high level axe and go with this 199 axe. By the time I change something, that anima crystal cost is going to be very ridiculous. And I did unlock Lufenia difficulty on this just because I got past the floor 21. That anima crystal cost is ridiculous, as well as some of these other crest costs can end up costing you 180. I probably should have made this a separate fuse video. But let's say you use something that's closer in the same level, the anima crystal cost, instead of like 600 or 900 something, it's now only 10. So just a heads up on the fuse and stuff like that. Long term, you would also be looking for specific to this build, you'd actually be looking for Phoenix gear. But there's another route for HP damage and critical hits that goes towards Rumu, and that's a bit more late endgame friendly. But this route should work all the way through the DLC story. But yeah, I hope this helps, as sort of ragtag as this was. Oh, one last thing to show for now. I apologize. So let's get that gear back. So,
This is the one.
This should be a good time.
Come
the
on,
last thing I
but
wanted to
watch yourselves.
showcase was Cyclic Warrior 600%, Void Knight 120%, Evoker 120%, Primary Blessing Leviathan any percent, does not matter whether it's 1 or 6,000, and then Cyclic Warrior, making sure that the category 4 is maxed out. And for this specific demonstration, I'm going to put Soul Shield MP recovery instead. You don't actually have to do this, but
All right.
let me rebuild my max MP.
All right.
And now, when I cast Cyclic Warrior's job action, instead of... it still takes 3 bars to cast it, but I get some of that back. I get 2 of those bars back. And if I really, really frigging wanted to, I would invest into actionability MP cost, and just to drive the point home a little bit here. I would invest in the category 4 actionability MP cost, and instead of Soul Burst MP recovery across my gear, I would probably do actionability MP cost across my gear instead.
For a change.
And then
Time for a change.
my Solar Chaos, instead of costing 3 bars, I get a little bit more back, and if you get your actionability MP cost high enough, your Solar Chaos will consume less and you'll get back more, especially if you hit the enemy.
Time for a change.
So this really should be its own video, but
We got company.
that enemy gets hit and I get my crap back. Those enemies, well, they're soul bursting, so that's not fair. But I'm getting some stuff back as I'm doing this. So if my actionability MP cost were high, well, that minus 28% on the upper half of the screen, if that were closer to minus 100%, I would cut my costs by half, and that would help. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling now, just cramming a bunch of stuff into the video. But yeah, I hope that helps. I'm gonna stop staring at Naked Jed for a bit.
Wonder what's in there.
Yeah, don't wonder what's in there. We're gonna stop the video now. Am I wearing pants?